Welcome to the Healthcare Provider Happy Hour. This is a safe space where we invite healthcare providers to unapologetically be themselves after the working day. My name is Jennifer George, and each week I will connect you with guests and stories that will help transform your stress to success and fulfillment. Are you with me? Grab your drink of choice and let's chat. Hey everyone, welcome to the Healthcare Provider Happy Hour. I'm your host, Jennifer George, and I'm joining you this evening with a glass of water. I want to chat with you today a little bit about communication and a little bit about burnout. I think one of the things that is often overlooked or unnoticed and clinicians might be unaware of is the fact that positive communication, compassionate communication can actually help you minimize your risk for burnout. Okay, so the research actually shows that by helping others, by being there for others, by serving others and being invested is actually one of the ways that you could feel better about yourself. So whether it comes to personal efficacy, for example, belief that you have an impact, or even depersonalization, just reconnecting with patients, it can help to minimize those factors of burnout. And I would even wager that perhaps against exhaustion too, because I find that the more we are able to feel fulfilled in serving others, the more we feel we have to serve, right? It's kind of like that quote around those who are always busy find time. It's that kind of is how it relates to the way I see compassionate communication, positive communication being a driver in minimizing the risk of burnout for clinicians. You know, and the argument or the objection to this is often, I don't have enough time, right? And I totally can understand where you're coming from on that, in the sense that time spent with patients is seeming more and more limited the further I'm in my career, definitely. One of the things I've always felt and I've always said is that it's never been about the quantity of time, it's always been about the quality of time, okay? You know, the research shows that it only takes a minute or so to build a positive rapport with your patient. And if you can lead in that first minute with, you know, empathy and compassion and just being a human being rather than just a clinician in their face of adversities that they're going through, especially if it's the first time you're meeting a patient, that can go a long way, you know, as their journey goes on with you. So that's something to be aware of, is that effort that you put in to be compassionate, to be empathetic, especially when you are feeling stressed, you are feeling pressured, you're feeling a bit fried, to find that in you will kind of spark an energy in you that maybe you didn't think you had at that time, especially when it is recognized by your patients. And not every patient's going to come out and tell you that, of course, but some will. Some will tell you that, you know, you've been wonderful at being there and just guiding them through this overwhelming process, right? So you might be the first person that does that for them along the way. We have to remember that our patients have encountered many healthcare providers by the time they get to you, likely. So we have to kind of be the one who stands out in a way, right? Set the bar, and we're all capable of doing that. So one of the things you can do, like to build empathy, it only takes moments. Okay, so to feel empathy, it only takes moments. I'll never forget when I was in school, I was an undergrad, and we were watching a video on spinal cord injuries, and they simulated somebody falling from a cliff and breaking his neck. And the sound, that instant sound of him breaking his neck, actually caused me to pass out in class at the sound of that, because I knew that that sound meant that he broke his neck and that he would have suffered a spinal cord injury or died, right? And that feeling that overcame me drove me into that that type of response, okay, that nervous system vascular response as well, okay? So that's how quick empathy can hit you. Now, this was a physical empathic example, but that's how, emotional and cognitive empathy is too, right? In your interactions, it only takes moments. So I recommend, when you're meeting and greeting your patients, that, you are presenting yourself in such a way that you show that you're with them, that they're safe with you, that they can trust you, and that, you might want to just ask them how you can make them more comfortable during their time with you, whether it's in that assessment itself, right? So those small touches, and, then you can kind of get into your assessment with them. And then I would also finish off with a personal touch as well of some sort. Again, making sure they're comfortable when you're leaving the room. One of the things I always say is that leave nothing unsaid by the time you leave that room, okay, or that patient clinician encounter. And you will feel much better walking away from that situation, and more clear-minded to help the next person, okay? But it really does come down to being present and being aware of what, who's in front of you in that moment, and offering the best of yourself and your purpose during that time with them. So this is all the kind of stuff I talk about in my book, and Communication is Care. And, again, the research shows that in order to build empathic, compassionate connections, patients have to feel like they can like you, trust you, and be guided by you, right? So you don't have to actually feel somebody's pain literally in order to be empathetic, but what patients want to sense is that you're trying to understand, okay? So that's the biggest thing when it comes to empathy, is you're trying to understand not only their emotions, but also their perspectives, okay? So why they could be feeling the way they feel, not just what they feel in itself. And then compassion is your ability to offer positive solutions to such an overwhelming situation that they may be going through. So you still staying clear-minded enough to guide your patient through such a difficult time, okay? And so what they've found, even from a patient standpoint, is that your patients may become more compliant to the program. They may experience less discomfort along the way, especially post-operatively. And their healing times overall may be quicker. I've seen this in my own patient care experiences.